If you could change any choices you have ever made, would you? You can always make another choice and change the course of your success. Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of Inspired Choices radio show, holographist coach, Christine McIver.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Inspired Choices radio show. I am so happy that you are here with me. Tonight we have a fabulous show that we are excited to share, and so excited to have the opportunity to be in the world and to speak to everyone and be a source for something that people are looking for. It really feels like all of the leaders that have been preparing and studying and really doing their inner work, it feels like they have been called to the stage. It really feels like it is now our time to step up and lead. And I'm thrilled. I am thrilled to be able to be one of those leaders. I've been working myself for a number of years and working with amazing people that I get to call my dear friends, as well as leaders that I adore and learn from every single solitary day. So one of those leaders are with me today, and I'm excited to introduce you to her. So today we are talking about minding your mental wellness. And I have my guest, DrStem Malatini, who is with me, and we are going to be, I know, she's giggling in the background. I didn't get the pronunciation gift, but I do keep trying. So we will keep on keeping on until I get it straight. But Dr. Malatini is with me today. We are going to be having a deep discussion, especially in these times of intense change and challenge, where our mental wellness must take the front seat in our focus for our present life and our future life. So if you're looking to move through and beyond challenges, this show will be a positive and practical contribution. So let me tell you about my guest. DrStem is a vivacious native of Zimbabwe. She has called the United States home for the past 30 years. As a licensed psychotherapist, she runs a private practice in Massachusetts. Is that correct?
No, I'm in Orlando, Florida.
You're in Florida now. So she gets around like the rest of us. In addition to her private practice, she's a passionate motivational speaker, personal and professional development consultant, and an author. Now get this, an author of 35 inspirational books. The woman does not sit still, I'm just telling you. Her mission is to help adults and young adults build confidence to discover who they really are and what they really want in life. She has a Facebook group all about minding your mental wellness. She has got a fabulous website, DrStemy.com or DrStemyspeaks.com. We are going to have all this information in this show. If you're listening in the replay or if you're listening live, come on over to Inspired Choices Network about a half an hour after we're done, and you will find all of the links there. Welcome, DrStemy, to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. That's part of my, taking care of my mental wellness, and just being available and talking to the people about how to manage their mental health.
Yeah, and, before we actually went live, you and I were discussing that. It's we as leaders and the people that are leading all of those out there looking for direction and support and guidance, it's so essential that we take care of our own mental wellness first, because we're not going to be able to lead if we don't, correct?
We won't. And it's amazing, right? Because then, looking at what's going on right now, I mean, it's literally being isolated or distanced from each other. As therapists and as leaders, we are so used to feeding, onto other people, bringing us good energy and us, transferring that energy. So you're right. We too needed this moment to take care of ourselves.
We do. So tell me a little bit, tell all of our listeners, rather, a little bit about yourself, more than what I did, and also, what do you do to take care of your mental wellness?
I will start off by saying hello to everyone, and also letting you know that I'm originally from Zimbabwe. I was born and raised in Zimbabwe. I'm the firstborn of 7. We are 5 girls and 2 boys. We're not, when I say girls now, and I see all my sisters are in their 50s, and, they have their grandmothers, I'm like, oh my God, everybody is grown. But I live in the Orlando, Florida area. And I am a therapist. I'm a licensed, therapist. And the reason why I write all those books, and I've written all those books, my heart and passion is to help other people to live their best life, to be happy, to be stress-free, to be loving, to be caring, and also to allow themselves to be loved. So times like this moment now, I find myself extending myself, to radio shows like this one that we're doing with Christine, to be available to answer questions on what do we do now? How do I take care of myself? And that to me helps, also me be of service and care for myself when I'm, giving on to others. But don't get me wrong. I moved to Florida and, from Boston, Massachusetts in 2015 because I came here as a part of self-care. I love the ocean. I love being by the water. I live in a place where it's almost like a resort. So I always tell people that I live in a place where it's a resort that I don't have to check out. Nobody knocks on my door on a Sunday and say, ma'am, it's time to log out. Can we clean your room? Because it's my house. So that's how I take care of myself.
It wouldn't be bad if somebody knocked on your door and asked if they could clean your house, though.
No, but they want you out. You have to have your bags and go out so somebody else can move in.
Right. You don't want to go out.
Yeah. No, I don't want to go out. Yeah. So, in addition to the books, I'm a motivational speaker as well. So one of the things that I do, speaking comes naturally to me. But I think, I'm saddened because right now we cannot be in groups because then that's one of the places that I find, that good positive energy and talking to the people and speaking. And you know what? I'm so sad that I came to Canada and I missed you because I was in Canada last year in Toronto, Canada.
We will meet again. We will absolutely meet again, for sure. So tell us about the work that you do. Where do you focus your efforts with your clients and when you're speaking to groups? What does that look like?
So right now, my private practice, believe it or not, I have 80% couples that I'm working with. And I also have, from those couples, pretty much about 60% of all the women that are in those couples have also selected to come in for individual sessions in addition to the counseling. So I find myself within the last 5 years focusing more on women empowerment and couples therapy. Mm-hmm. Doing mostly of that, and that's what I've been doing a lot of. But for the past 20 years prior to, moving to Florida, I worked a lot with parents and teenagers. And then so I got to a place where...
Sorry, what do you do to take care of minding your mental wellness? What are some of your practices personally?
My practices personally are, taking time to meditate. I'm one of those people that, prior to 15 years ago, I think I didn't understand the power in meditation, in taking care of myself until, you grow up. I just turned 55 last week. So meditation is number one thing that I do. Number two, I also love to take, like bubble baths and, sitting in a bath and having, slow music where I can just relax in the bath. I love reading as well. So I have a lot of books that I now am taking out of the attic and reading, but I love reading magazines. I love reading, inspirational books, empowerment books. Is one thing that I do. And going out to meet with friends. I have a lot of friends that we just go out to just laugh, to eat, and to spend, quality time with. So during this time, we are doing Zoom meetings where we are meeting through, video Zoom and talking about what we are doing and still laughing. So that connection is very important for me, and I'm continuing to do that as well.
Right. So we've got, right now, if everybody's listening, if you're listening to this show in the replay, we're right at the beginning, I would say, in North America of experiencing the interesting journey of the coronavirus. And I don't know about you, DrStem, but if you're going online, if you're going on Facebook, you're going on Instagram, you're going on whatever social media platform, there's a lot of intense energy out there. And there is a lot of people, that people are lost. They really don't know which way to turn and who to believe, and they're repeating things that maybe are true or not true. They're seeing things from all different countries, kind of looking over at one country and saying, oh my gosh, is that going to happen to us? And all of the rest of it. And I most especially felt it in the last 2 days. The intensity has turned up a great deal. And hearing a lot of people being really in a lot of worry and fear and second-guessing themselves and the choices that they have made in the last little while. I have a friend, for instance, and her daughter has a young child, and they were just all together in a family group event for over a week, and they've returned home, and now her daughter has decided that instead of everybody being away from each other for 14 days, now no, we're not going to be seeing anyone. It's an indefinite thing, and until she decides that they can see each other again. And to me, that seems, and it's not my business, it's her business, but that just kind of struck me as fear. That that was driving the choice, and I'm wondering, what are you sharing with people and guiding them around how to mind their mental wellness and not being dragged down into other people's choices or other people's projections of what can or what is going to happen?
At this time, because, as you said, we have too much information coming in, and we also don't have enough information as far as protection and being safe. So everyone is taking more of a precaution of safety, and they want to be safe. So I'm saying to everyone, limit the amount of time that you're on social media and listening to every Tom, Dick, Harry that is saying something, and make sure that if you're in a city, in a city or in a country, it's the officials of the country that you want to listen to. What are they saying? What are the next steps? What precautions are you supposed to be taking, right now? That's very important. And then, for most of us that are here in the country, we have to not only listen to our city officials, but we also have CDC that has been guiding us on the washing of the hands and make sure that, we don't get into gatherings of, more than 10 people. But it's important that we are not operating from a place of fear. And with what you just described, it is, yes, it's fear, but then it's fear that we also cannot discourage until we get information on safety. That people are safer, and it's okay for to be roaming around and going around. So I do understand what that parent might be going through, but at the same time, we don't want to bring in where a lot of people we are operating from a place of panic and anxiety, and we cannot even allow the children to go out and be in social situations.
Right. And it's so fascinating to watch different leaders. I'm fascinated by some of the leaders that are panicking and other leaders that are really stepping up with confidence and truly guiding people in their lives, in the moments of intensity. And I guess that is where we do see the true leaders that emerge in the world. I would love to see how we, as we continue this conversation, because we're going to go to our first break, but I would love to see how we can invite everyone to be a true leader in their own lives through some fabulous choices with minding our mental wellness. So on that note, let's take our first break. When we get back, we will continue with this wonderful individual that I'm so happy we met, DrStem, and we will continue this great conversation about minding your mental wellness. You're listening to Inspired Choices here on Inspired Choices Network. We'll be back right after this break.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on our past experiences or what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know but may not choose that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back and brings all her expertise during each and every show. Are you ready to create the life and the living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. Canada 613-800-8736 or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining tonight. We are talking with a fabulous leader in the world, DrStem, and she is talking with us tonight about minding your mental wellness. So, DrStem, what thoughts are on your mind that you'd like to share with our listeners?
So, you know, when I just created this website over the last weekend on minding your mental wellness, right? And the reason why I created it, it just came to me as one of those light bulbs that says, uh-oh. It was because I saw the panic that was not only in myself, but all my patients were starting to panic, and even therapists were starting to panic in the groups that I belong to, and friends were text messaging, what are you going to do? Are you going to close down? Are you staying open? Did you get stuff to eat? And I thought, look at this. Here we are on this panic, because of this, coronavirus, that is attacking us, right? But it's a medical prevention that we're all taking care of and running around and making sure that medically we don't, spread this virus. But mentally, what it's doing mentally, we are also creating another, crisis, that we could have a mental health crisis once this is over or during this time here, because a lot of people, we are not immune to, experiencing the effect it has on us mentally, this preparation.
That's
so
a
I
very
created
good point.
this. Yeah, I created this because I wanted to make sure that we address the effects and the aftermath of the panic attacks, of the fear that people might be experiencing, and not calming themselves down and getting the right information. And now what we might instill in the kids, because now the kids have to stay home in the United States. They have to stay home until about April 15th, which is about 3 weeks, 4 weeks for some, out of school.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in a confined place, which is a house where they're in a confined place. So if we don't have, things that they can do, any structured work that they can do, and, on a daily basis, and, keep them occupied, they're going to start panicking themselves because they're not understanding why they cannot go to school. So now there's this fear also of going back into school, that they might go into school and get sick. So it's also important that we work with accommodating, the kids and making sure that we give them, work to do.
That's interesting. I've been thinking about what's happening now, and how people are concerned about their jobs, concerned about the money that's going to be coming in or not coming in, looking at the governments on how they're going to support. And while I'm definitely been aware around people's mental states of mind now, I didn't think about the future and when we all return to the schools, return to the workplaces, how people that will be having experienced a great deal of stress and anxiety, how that's going to have to be managed after we begin to return.
Exactly. And that's what we as professionals need to, start working on it now, because we don't want to now address it afterwards. But if we address, how to take care of yourself whilst we are in the midst of this crisis now, I think it will minimize the amount of, cases that we'll see afterwards. It will also help the people look towards what happens after. This is all done. Who am I going to be? What is life going to be like for me? What is being created and shifted where I am? What's changing for me? Some companies might have more people working from home. Some companies might have to eliminate some people because, now they've lost all these billions of dollars and cannot afford to bring everybody back and operate at the large scale that they were, operating on. So, but all those changes are what could happen. And what I'm encouraging people to do is to deal with the here and now, because the what ifs are not going to help us mentally, because we don't have control of what ifs and what each company will do or what the government will do. We don't have control over that. What we have control over.
Sorry,
I was just going to talk. Yeah, I was just going to talk about the income and people losing income and, not having enough money, because now in a couple of weeks or in a week and a half, the month is ending. So rent is due, bills are due, and people that are not working, small businesses like myself, we don't have that money coming in when you're not working. This is affecting everyone around the country. So what I've started doing and encouraging other people to do is to call every place and ask for an extension, because everybody knows, and most of the places that we pay the bills, they have, people that are working remotely and answering calls. So that's going to be helpful. And I had a lot of people, answering my calls when I was, calling my electricity company, and everybody trying to make sure that I give them dates that are, after the 31st, just in case I don't get my checks in on time, to make sure that I pay everything. I don't want to be stressed about it. So I started being proactive about it. And that helps if people start to do that as well, to be proactive.
That's an excellent suggestion. What do you suggest to parents? We're looking at the children and we're looking at the youth. And I think that children, when we're talking about children like 12 and under, I think that they can be, for the most part, kept pretty occupied with some different activities in the home, getting creative. I do think that parents are going to have to likely become more engaged with the children, as opposed to just, putting them in front of a video game or a TV or leaving them, alone. They're going to need to be a little bit more engaged. But what about for those teenagers who, we all need social interaction. We really do need, the human body, the human being needs that social interaction. What are you suggesting that the professionals and the parents start to do with the teenagers as far as helping to mind their mental wellness?
To be honest with you, I think the last people that we need to worry about right now are teenagers. You know why? They have had this social distancing, right, way before we started even realizing that, this is, a trend that's coming up with the teenagers. That you see most teenagers now sitting on their beds and, everywhere with their phones, and they're literally having video chats and, chats in the different chat rooms that they have been hanging out with their friends online, virtually, rather than in person. So, it becomes a normal way for them. They see this as, you know what, hey, I'm still talking to my friends. I'm still hanging out with my friends. And what's happening now is the change that will happen is having interaction with the parents and having to get to know your children. Some parents, ask me today and they're like, oh, my God, what am I going to do, with these children? I said, guess what? Now you get to know who these children are. Because you haven't had time to know who they are. Yes, you birthed them, but then you might have been one of those ladies that, got to stay home for 3 months, the most, which is what most people can afford to do, to stay for 3 months. And after that, you send, them to a babysitter, and the next thing they go to kindergarten, they go to day school, college, and they're gone. And you never even got to know them. So I said, guess what? Now is the time to get to know them. Now is the time that you can actually have time where you can have games, you can, have books, you can have them come up with some, games that they know that you haven't learned and known about, and say, hey, do you know a game that you can teach me, as a way of interacting with them and talking to them, hey, I guess this is the time that we can get to know each other and, hang out for a bit, because, what are we going to do? We've got the whole 3 weeks, together. So instead of me suggesting
three weeks,
some things to do.
3 weeks right now that we're aware of. Right? It may end up being longer than that. Like, I know I'm in Canada, I know that most of the provinces have also extended the March break to be 3 weeks. But we don't know. Hopefully we're taking all the preventative measures that it will be 3 weeks, but we don't know if it's going to be longer than that. And yeah, it's scary. And I think for me, when I'm thinking about, when my children were younger, and if we'd have been at home, and I would have been worried about money, I would have been worried about what's going to happen to our future, like you say, paying the mortgage, paying the rent, paying the bills, and the children picking up on that, because children are so aware. They are so in tune with the energies of what's happening with their parents. I think that for me would be an area that would be something that I would love for people to catch my attention on. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, we need to be concerned about our jobs and our money, but what about what the people around us that are depending on us, and they're looking at us. The children of today are looking to the parents and the leaders in the world to guide them. What is it that we can be showing them, and what is it that we can be demonstrating ourselves that will help to lead them into their own mental wellness? I guess that's a big piece that kind of rides on my mind.
Excited to talk about that as well.
Yeah, I think that's a big piece. Yeah. We do need to mind our own wellness and self-control. And I guess one of the biggest questions that I always ask is, is this really true for me? When I'm on social media and I see something posted by whomever it's posted by, and, I ask that question, and instead of it just being, oh, that looks interesting to listen to, really asking, like, is this for me? And letting it go. And sometimes, well, that looks like information that would be useful not just being drawn in like a magnet into the craziness of the world's panic, right? And then what do we do with that information? So we're going to go for our second break. When we get back, I would love to hear your input around all of that, and what else do we want to talk about? So you are listening to the Inspired Choices Radio Show. Yeah, awesome. Here on the Inspired Choices Network, we would love to have your questions. You can come to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com, join us in the chat room, or feel free to call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, in Canada 613-800-8736, or you can always Skype Inspired Choices Network. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on our past experiences or what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know but may not choose that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back and brings all her expertise during each and every show. Are you ready to create the life and the living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you ready to have pleasure with your business? Yes, I said pleasure with your business. The Pleasure of Business a la carte will surprise you with topics like meet yourself in the boardroom, money, services, and you. Expand your visibility. The pleasure of communication. The pleasure of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Christine McIver has so much pleasure with business and loves teaching all things business. Beginning a new business? Desiring to expand a current business, or looking to resurrect a business that has been dormant? This program will get you fired up and bring more pleasure than you have ever imagined. Exhausted with your excuses for not creating a phenomenal business? Join now for all the pleasure with business. Pleasure of Business a la carte gives you total choice for what you desire and what your business requires. That's 24 weeks of different topics to choose from, with weekly calls, audio and video recordings, and PDFs. This class will have you dive right in and use tools to create the business that has been speaking to you. Go to inspiredchoices.ca for full details, or join the Facebook page, Pleasure of Business a la carte. Now is the time for you and your business.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. Yes, you are listening to Inspired Choices here with myself, Christine McIver, and my wonderful guest, DrStem, and we are talking about minding your mental wellness. Now, before we get back into the conversation, I do want to encourage everyone to check out your website, DrStem. You have two websites, DrStemmy, that's DrStemie.com, and I love it. On there, you have so many books. And as soon as you open it up, it says, "Welcome to the Empowerment Academy." Yes, let's get empowered, everyone. And you have a free gift that you give to everyone, Overcoming Self-Sabotage. I love it, for sure. And you've got 35 books you've read. Like, what do you do in your spare time?
Can you tell? Can you tell what I do?
Well, I know you're very I know you're very passionate at what you, and you're definitely someone that loves to build confidence and success with people, for sure.
Yes, and it's a way of communicating with others, because then when you read, like, last week on Monday at 10:55, and anybody who wants that book, you can get on my Facebook and ask me for my 55 lessons, which is another free ebook that I wrote for my birthday, so that I can give people the 55 life lessons that I've learned so far that I thought most people could relate to. So you can inbox me and just say 55, or send me a quick message and just say 55, and then I will send that to them. And my email, real quick, if you don't mind, is DrStem14@gmail.com, DrStem14@gmail.com.
Nice. So before we went for break, we were talking about the children and about managing, helping, really leading. So tell us tell us about your program, Minding Your Mental Wellness, and what you're doing with your patients and leading them to lead their families.
Yes. So with Minding, thank you for that question. With Minding Your Mental Wellness program, I have videos that I'm doing every day. I'm doing a video and putting it in the group, Minding Your Mental Wellness, which is on Facebook. So it's important that if you are interested in getting a tip a day on how to mind your mental wellness or your mental health, or, deal with this stressful time, then please log into Facebook and join that book group, Minding Your Mental Wellness. And in those videos, I am talking about, individual, taking care of yourself as an individual, taking care of your children, taking care of yourselves as, couples, and just to respond to what you were talking about before we went on break, you were talking about how it would be for you that you probably would want to know, how do I take care of, my finances, and how do I take care of my household and my children in there, which is a question that most parents and most people are really panicking about. What are we going to do? What is the government going to do? What are the leaders going to do to help us out? Well, there are two words that I want, all the listeners to listen to, that are listening right now, to remember. What's going to happen is there are two words that are going to help us. We are either going to respond to this situation or this crisis moment that we are finding the whole world being in, or we are going to react. Respond or react. In responding, we are not going to operate from a point of fear. We are going to follow the instructions that we are being given on prevention. We are going to find the information that we need on the help that is available. In most places in the United States, the Salvation Army, the places where, the schools, they have set sites where people can get food. There are a lot of people that are also available to deliver food to those people that are being quarantined. If you've been asked, to stay at home for quarantine, then that means you're being asked to stay at home for about 14 days. And this is to protect you and to also protect other people that might be in your presence whilst you still have the virus, alive in you. My understanding, and please talk to the doctors and, professionals that are working with you, when they test you and they find that you're positive, it's not a death sentence if you're told to go home and stay home until 14 days, because then what's happening is people are panicking once they're told to go at home and think, oh my God, so now we're just going to stay here and die because now we're in this here. It's important that you follow the instructions of, the medical professionals that have, asked you to stay at home and not be in that panic that we are here to die. Because that would
we're definitely not
be a reaction.
Right. And we're definitely not going to die. Let's be really clear. I think that's a big piece that we have to get this message out more and more. It's like, okay, I'm going to get a little strong here right now. It's like, let's get real. Like, look at the damn numbers. Look at the numbers. There are more people recovering. I posted something, I think it was on Monday this week. We have a 92%, to date, we have a 92% recovery rate. 92%. So there's a lot of things that the world, people in the different countries, there's a lot of things that people are doing right if we are having a 92% recovery rate. And I think that is a key thing that we need to, let's look at the facts. Let's get the facts straight up in front of us, right?
And that's
I think that right. Exactly. Thank you. I get a little upset because there's so many people out there going, oh my God, I have to stay home for 14 days. Now, we've been talking about this in a number of different shows here on the network. We actually had a team meeting on Sunday, and we got a big pull to do a show called Water Cooler Conversations. And this is a show we put together. It's just hosts talking, and it's in response to what's going on in the world, just to support everyone and everything out there. And one of the biggest things is we've got to stay present with what is true for us right here, right now. So, for instance, maybe 50 miles down the road from where you are, DrStem, or where I am, somebody has the coronavirus, right? Like, maybe that's true.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that they're going to walk up and kiss you on the mouth and you're going to get it tomorrow, right? Like, there are many, many people doing the right things that are taking care of their health and being considerate and taking care of yours.
That's very true.
And we have choices. That's something that I think is really important, is to let's all remember we have choices. Now, you can choose to react, like you said, or you can choose to respond.
Yes. And I truly believe that, you know what, before we know it, we are going to be told, okay, all clear. And when all clear comes, are you going to be the same person that you were before this crisis, and yet you've had all this time to really sit down with yourself and also take a tally on how your life, has been, where you are in your life? Because many people are getting to this place when you yourself, personally, you've been saying to yourself, you know what, I hate this job, I hate this life, I hate this place where I am, and I hate doing this here. And now you have this moment to really sit down and create the things that you need to do in order to get, what it is that you've been wanting to do, wanting to have. You've got this time. You can do it virtually. Most places are having services, free classes, coaching available that you also can take advantage of right now because you've got the time.
Exactly. I know somebody personally that they actually said to me this weekend, I'm fairly certain I'm going to get laid off from my job. This couldn't have come at a better time. I'm sick of this job, just like you said. Here's my opportunity. Right? Here is my opportunity. So what opportunity is actually sitting right in front of you that if you would actually get present, as you said, get present with yourself and look at the truth. What opportunity is right here, right now, waiting for you to choose?
And there are things that we can control, and there are those things that we can't control. So my church people out there, this is a time for bringing that serenity prayer. And really taking a look at what is it that I can control and what is it that I can't control. So what you can control right now is do not have 2 toilet tissue rolls in your house and think, I don't understand how the correlation of having tissues and, coronavirus, run out of tissues because there are no more tissues in the stores. So that's the reality of it. Get with the program. And get tissues.
Seriously.
And,
do not get me started on this conversation about toilet paper. Because, girl, I'm going to go off. I will go off.
No, don't do that. But I mean, we do have to be realistic about it. And I'm talking about the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I can't change. Well, guess what? I can run around and get some toilet paper right now, or I won't have the toilet paper because I was so gung-ho on understanding the logic behind getting toilet paper, where there's no more time for us to figure out the logic. There's no logic to it, but we do need to get toilet paper, okay? Fine. So, and then the other thing is, we don't have control over when we can go out and when we can be around the people. Right now, we don't have control over that. Worrying about that is not going to help us. It's time for us to make the most of where we are and what we have to do right now, one, so that we don't lose our mental wellness. We don't lose our minds. Because this right here is the ultimate reason why anybody could lose their mind, because it's almost like a rug was just pulled from underneath us, and then all of a sudden it's like, oops, sorry you fell, right. I mean, no warning, nothing. Yeah. So it's totally understandable for people to really feel lost. It's totally understandable for people to feel angry about this, having happened. But at the same time, it's also important that we come to the realization of it's real, it's here. It's not just affecting, a certain, type of people, race of people, certain country. It's affecting the world, and the whole world needs to be united so that we can, take care of this virus as well as our families, individuals, businesses. Everything will work out if we all get to be still and follow instructions and come together also with ideas on how this can, be worked together for everybody to survive this. But we're all going to survive. I truly believe that.
I do as well. And, I really love what you said earlier, that we have an opportunity. And who are we going to be on the other side of this? Who are you going to be? Are you going to be someone that can stand up and say, I led myself, I led my family, I led my community through my choices, through what I focused on, through my words, through my actions? Or are you going to be somebody who is still going to be whipping in the wind, screaming and yelling and ticked off that something bad was done to you? I mean, seriously, people, this is where we are. And I believe that we all chose to come to this time and this space in the universe, and we have an opportunity to contribute as a leader within ourselves. And I think it's, you know what? I kind of like that it's a global thing, Dr. Stem, because it's like, hey, you're all on the same playing field. You are all on the same playing field. Now step up or step off. Like, that's just where I'm at.
That's true. They're very true. You're very true. It's very true, and it's time that we become real with this thing. It's real, it's here, but it's also time for connection. It's time to connect. We are going to be connecting with the loved ones that we are in the home with, and also via, even social media, even via phones. But it's time to connect, because many of us didn't have this time before. Everybody was working and just going and going and going.
Right. And you know what? You've got to drop those excuses now. You've got to drop the excuse that I don't have time to take care of myself. I don't have time to do self-care. I never have time to read. I never have time to go for walks and enjoy nature. I don't have time. I don't have enough time to spend with my lover. I don't have enough time to spend with my children. Enough with the excuses. Guess what? You have just been put on a 3-week vacation.
You talk about lovers, Christine. Guess what? Let's not forget to talk about that. Many lovers have not had this amount of time together in one room for this long. Not even if you're married or if you're in a relationship. You have not had this amount of time in the same room. So one thing that I have to let you know is this is not the time that you bring up anything that you guys have been fighting about and walking out the door without talking because it's unresolved. It's not the time to talk about unresolved issues, because you will be in the same house for way too long. Way too long. And to start it now, and this is the reason it's a good time. You might say it's a good time because now I get to see him and I get to see her, and now she's not even going to run away from work because she's working from here, right? The problem is there's so much stress that all of you are going through right now that has got nothing to do with the relationship. And if you start having your mind go there, I can't believe you cheated on me. I can't believe you talked to that woman when we have talked that, talked about not talking to her or him, then guess what? It is going to stir up more emotions and problems for you guys when it's not even about that. This is about the coronavirus. This is about us getting over this period of crisis, and then you can work through those issues. Just say.
And now would be the time to book your appointments with Dr. Stem so you can have a coaching session with your couple. so you can move through these next 3 weeks.
Coaching sessions, right? Yes, if they book with me for the couples coaching session, it's really perfect, but I'll ask you to go in the car. I will not have the sessions with, them sitting in the house, because the kids, they have ears. I don't care how big your mansion is, they have ears. And I would rather we continue to make them think that everything is honky-dory with mom and dad. Teenagers know exactly what's going on with you, even, preteens. They know what's going on with you. They can see it, they feel it, they know it. But if you're going to do that, it's really a perfect time, but you'll have to be in the car. And yes, we can resolve those issues for you, because it's an elephant in the room, let's face it. And it's been there. It's worse now because you have to face each other.
Right. Now is the time. Well, isn't it interesting that, everyone, I think there is a big spiritual aspect to what's been created, in that we are being forced to look at ourselves. We are being forced to look at our situations and what we've created. There's not a lot of noise. There's not a lot of noise. There is going to be some come to Jesus conversations with each and every person within themselves. And we have an opportunity now to make some strong choices. And I think it's really important that people understand that there's not too many times in your life that you're going to have an opportunity to hit the reset button and to really look at what is most important to you in your life and what is most important to you to create with relationships. And I just want to say that if you're doing a car coaching session, one of you might want to be in the front seat and one of you might be in the back. I'm just saying.
Not when you're working with me. I have a way of making it so
You have your way? That is fantastic. Oh, my gosh. This has been such... She has her ways, people. Be prepared. So, Dr. Stem, we are coming to the end of this show. We just have a couple minutes left. We are going to have all of your contact information where people can connect with you and reach out, and you can connect in the Facebook group or message you and connect with you and set up a session one-on-one, which is fabulous. You also are looking at your radio show that is going to be coming up here on the Inspired Choice Network. Whoop, whoop. We're excited to have you. The Dr. Stem Show. I'm telling you.
The Dr. Stem Show. Yes, yes. In the meantime, I am encouraging all of you listeners. It's time to check yourself whether you're responding or you're reacting. When you're responding, it's going to be calm. It's going to be an opportunity for you to see solutions, as well as, connecting and reconnecting with, those people that are around you within, the same environment that you're in or on the outside. So do check yourself and then ask yourself, am I reacting or am I responding?
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for joining, Dr. Stem. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Do come back next week. We will have another exciting show where we might just be poking at you and prodding you to step up in your life. So until next week, make sure that you are checking yourself. And remember, no matter what, you can always make another choice. Until next time, my friends, take good care.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at Inspired